I'm George from Delta Hydrofoil, and this is part of a continuing series on hydrofoil tuning. Previously we talked about adjusting the angle of your stabilizer for optimal performance on your hydrofoil, if in fact your stabilizer is adjustable, and I wanted to continue a little bit with that. So this is a prototype free-ride foil that we're developing at Delta. I thought I'd use this as an example because the stabilizer is adjustable, whereas on our race foils it's not. So previously we talked about how this actually works, that the wing lifts up but the stabilizer actually pushes down, and that this wing in the back, the stabilizer, is actually angled, tipped downward with respect to this wing, which is tipped upward. The difference in angle between these two wings is typically anywhere from 1.5 degrees to maybe as high as 4 or 5 degrees. And the various symptoms of having this misadjusted. So if this angle isn't far enough down, then there's very little downforce in the back, and you'll have a hydrofoil that will tend to porpoise a lot. It just won't be stable. It will need continuous correction in order to keep it level. On the other hand, if you have too much angle, then the symptoms that you're going to get are that the foil is going to have an incredible amount of front foot pressure, and that front foot pressure will increase as the speed increases, and the foil will also feel slow. Overstabilized would be a good way of describing it. So additionally to that, I think it's important to realize that the best way to figure out the proper angle is by riding the foil downwind, not upwind. It seems that when you're riding upwind, foot strap position isn't as important, and stabilizer angle position isn't as important as when you're going downwind and speeds are higher. So what I'd like to recommend to everybody is to really tune foot strap position and stabilizer position according to the feel when you're pushing fast downwind. One complicating factor when doing these adjustments is that the stabilizer angle and the foot strap position are related. On this particular board it's strapless, so that's not an issue, but if you had straps, say you had the stabilizer angle actually adjusted perfectly, but your straps were too far back, then you'd have a lot of front foot pressure from the wing pushing up on the front of the board, and you might feel that it's actually overstabilized when in fact it's not. The counterexample would be if you had the straps too far forward, then you'd feel like you had a lot of back foot pressure and you might think you didn't have enough stabilizer angle. So those two things are mixed. So the goal, and this is in particular if you're into a performance hydrofoil or race foil, is you're going to need to shift around the position of the straps and work with the stabilizer angle, with the goal being that you have even foot pressure going upwind and the same foot pressure going downwind. So basically, there's no shift in the center of pressure when you change from a very high angle to the wind to a very low angle of the wind, and much higher speeds, of course. So it's something that requires a little bit of experimentation. I find that even moving one foot strap, the back foot strap or the front foot straps, moving them an inch can result in a very, very big change in performance. So it's something that really requires some tuning and some experimentation, but it's well worth it. When you finally get it right, you'll know it and your speeds will be really good. On the other hand, once you get used to having something one way, you kind of tend to stick with it, and I would encourage you that if you've had it set up one way, to try maybe moving the back strap an inch back or an inch forward, or moving the front straps an inch forward or an inch back, and see how that feels to you. That way you can be sure that maybe you just haven't gotten used to some setting that's not optimal. So it's always good to be experimenting a little bit and to get the best possible result with your flow.